सवैया दुत जिते इन्हीं के प्रसाद सुदान करे अक अवगटारे इन्हीं के प्रसाद इन्हीं की कृपा पुण्य धाम भरे इन्हीं के प्रसाद सो विद्यालय इन्हीं की कृपा सब संत मरे नहीं की कृपा के सजे हम हैं नहीं पोसो गरीब करोड़ मरे
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite or least favorite Sikh podcast, The Sikh Renaissance. Today's agenda is to discuss what exactly is Hukam. Seeing how fast the Naam episode took off, we decided that at the end of the day, there are certain Sikh concepts that need to be defined in light of gurmukh rather than outsourcing them out to false traditions. Now, when it comes to Sikh concepts, for some reason, our Sampradas are really happy to outsource our divine revelations to all the ludicrous Natni crap. So we end up trying to comprehend Sikh principles in light of false Sanatan, false Vedas, false Upanishads, and false Gitas, basically the whole false gamut of this hodgepodge called Hinduism, without realizing the integral essence of these terms or these concepts and principles from a Sikh perspective. And this is where we have a whole bunch of boundless confusion confusing us and our future generations. So, take for example Sargun Nirgun. For some reason, we have fallen into the Sanatani trap of Sokam Sharir, non Sokam Sharir, the gross body, the non gross body, stuff which at the end of the day looks really good in a comprehensive book or in spiritual discussions, but in no way contributes anything practical or spiritual to a common person, to a common Sikh living their daily life. And our belief has always been based on the words of Bhai Gurdas that the Sikh gurus are divinity manifest in human form. But what makes them more special than, say, false prophets and false teachers like Christ, Muhammad, and all the Sanatan deities is that they came down to the level of man and lived their daily lives like the 99% of mankind they were teaching, who have no resort to divine or miraculous powers, in order to teach these normal, simple human beings how to live their life fruitfully and achieve great results from it. That if Guru Gobind Singh Ji could sacrifice his four sons, then so could a common Sikh at the time of his persecution. So, this is the reality of the Sikh ethos, one of the foundational points of Sikh philosophy, and this is why we are called the householder's faith, the householder's way of life. So, when it comes to Hukam, our academia, our religious academia, our whole spiritual intellectualism has gone all the way towards the Sanatani falsity, their lies. That in reality, what we should be focused on is what they are focused on in their religions. But the reality is that Hukam is something else. Hukam is the framework within which Sikhi is to be lived, and Sikhi is to be lived through Naam. And we clarified in the last English episode, Naam, the Khalsa strength, what is Naam. So today, we're going to be focusing on Hukam. What is Hukam? So Hukam is the framework, and simply put, if we want to translate Hukam, keeping the context in mind, Hukam isn't a Kal Purkh sitting on his throne and going, okay, minute to minute I'm going to change this, or minute to minute I'm going to change that. No. Hukam is the system which we call reality, or that we call reality. Reality cannot be changed by us. If you look at great warriors, they take their inspiration from animals. And there is a Chinese fable that a warrior once took inspiration from a snake. Look at a snake. It doesn't choose or it doesn't desire to start flying. It knows it can't. It uses the reality of its situation that it's a ground dweller to fight birds of prey which sweep down on it from top. Similarly, a warrior uses what's at his advantage, what's given to him by reality, rather than seeking to change reality. And why we screw up in our lives is that we always try changing reality when it's just not possible. Why would Akal Purkh change his hukam, his existential hukam, that is the very foundation of existence, when it's perfect from the start? What is not perfect, what is imperfect, is our interpretation of that hukam. We have our own desires conflicting with the reality of our situation, and in that way, we end up destroying ourselves. And unfortunately, given this preponderance of non Sikh thought infiltrating our religion, we somehow end up blaming Akal Purkh when in reality, it's only us ourselves who are to blame. So, one of the cornerstones of this reality is at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, why do we exist? Right? Why do we exist in this world? Why do we have life? And Gurbani answers us within the framework of Hukam. Ape chenj pavaye, malkhara rachya, lathe parthu pae, gurmukh machya, manmukh mare pachhadi, मूर्ख कचिया आपे भिड़े मारे आपे आप कारज रचिया सबना खसम एक है gurmukh janiya. So what it is essentially saying, and this is on Anga 1280 of the Guru Granth Sahib, is that Akal Purkh, the creator, has furnished this existential wrestling pit. So this life is described as a wrestling pit. And within it, Akal Purkh places two competitors. With great war cries, the Gurmukhs leap into the fray and delightfully seek to fight. The Manmukhs, meanwhile, fight foolishly and succumb to heavy blows. The Creator has set up these fights to kill the false. Such is the divine will, or the hukama, the reality. The Creator is the sole sustainer of all. The Gurmukh realizes and acknowledges this. So, in no way does Sikhi promise an easy life. Life isn't easy, life is a battle. And the greatest evidence we have of this is Gurbani telling us this straight away, Ang 1280, that life is a battle. And one of the foundational principles of Sikhi and the Khalsa ultimately is that life is a battle, and the Gurmukh is someone who fights within themselves and fights outside themselves. So they're daily fighting someone, either it's themselves or either it's someone else. And once again, this term chenje, wrestling pit, a place of conflict for life, it's very interesting because it's replete throughout Gurbani. Ho Gosai da pelvanara, मैं गुरमिल उच दमालड़ा सब होए छिंज इकट्ठिया दयो बैठे वेख आपे जियो वाट वजन धमक भिड़िया मल लथे लथे फिरिया निहत्ते पंज जवान मैं गुरथापी दित्ती कि किछ जियो सब इकट्ठे होए आए घर जसान वट वटाया. So I am my maker's wrestler. My guru has tied a dumala upon my head, the dumala being a war turban, a symbol of honor, as a sign of honor. The spectators have congregated in this wrestling pit to witness my spectacles as well as my maker. The bells chime, the drums roar, and the trumpets blare aloud. The wrestlers assemble and encircle me. The Guru pats me on my back, and I enter the fray. I render my 5 challenges, the 5 thieves, obsolete and throw them to the ground. Spectators and wrestlers alike have gathered in the arena, but now take different routes out. The Gurmukhs win their bets and the Manmukhs lose. So this is Guru Granth Sahib, Ang 74. So life is a battle. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. The Gurus never had easy lives. I mean, some bitch ass Saheli doesn't pick up our phone for 12 seconds and we start panicking and cursing our lives, our very existence, when in reality, Guru Granth Sahib is telling us that life is never going to be easy. It just isn't. Life is a great gift, but this gift ultimately consists of trying to win a great conflict. And that conflict can only be won through the discipline of Nam. जय जीवे पत लथी जाए सब हराम जेता किच खाए राज रंग माल रंग रंग रता नचे नंग नानक ठगिया मुठा जाए विन नावे पत गई गुआए. If you live solely for living's sake, then you forfeit all honor. Whatever you do in sin. Immersed in the colors of wealth and power, you cavort shamelessly like a nude beggar. Guru Nanak affirms that there are many like you who ultimately only end up defrauding themselves. Bereft of divine wisdom, you lose more than you gain. And this is from Asa Divar in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Ang 142. So the whole essence is that life is a battle, and that battle is fought within the parameters, the framework of reality, and that reality originates from the hukam, the command of Akal Purakh. It is synonymous with Akal Purakh's reality. So hukam and reality in Sikhi are synonymous. Appan hare ape sajio, appan hare rachio nao, doe kudrat sajiye kar asan ditha chao. Again, from Asa Divar Guru Granth Sahib Ang 463, having decided upon your own intent, you Akal Purakh installed your own divine wisdom, your own divine reality within this creation. Secondly, you establish this creation and with joy reside within it. So first, we have the parameters of creation coming into play, hukam, and then in this hukam, we have the nam, and then after the nam, we have the contours of this creation coming out, all its details. And then, after all the details are set, all of creation is done, it's running. Akal Purakh resides within it. So, this is ultimately the point of life. And why does Akal Purakh reside within creation? Akal Purakh wants to observe whether it was worth creating us or not. Now, obviously, this is going to incite a lot of controversy and debate. In Sikhi, we do have free will. We do not believe in predestination. And obviously, there are many who will argue that there are certain levels of predestination, and Sikhi might be soft predestination or hard predestination, depending on their outlook. But the reality is, we do not have such strong predestination. Now, how it's being classed is relative to whatever one's own principles and outlooks and observations are in life. But the reality is that at the end of the day, in Sikhi, there is nothing that can be said to be predestined. Akal Purakh has given us free will. And based on that free will, Akal Purakh also knows at the end of the day what choice, what is the outcome of the choices we make. So we make a positive choice, Akal Purakh knows what the outcome will be. We make a negative choice, Akal Purakh knows what the outcome will be. What choice do we make? Akal Purakh has given us the ability, the free will, to make that choice on our own. So obviously there are many people who will argue, well, Shabadak and the Shabadak and the Plana Shabad, that Shabad says this Shabad says that. But if you look at the cornerstone of Hukam being reality, then from there you can see that these Shabads at the end of the day are discussing a system. Their system cannot be changed. What they're not discussing is some sort of a predestined destiny. Now, all the people who argue about predestination in Sikhi, it's very interesting when someone asks them that did Akal Purakh predestine Sikh woman in 1984 being gang raped by Hindus, Muslims, and Christians? And if Akal Purakh predestined that, then did Akal Purakh not predestine us getting Khalistan at the time? And if Akal Purakh didn't, why are we resisting the Hindu Sanatan menace? And if we are resisting that menace, despite it being predestined to attack us, are we not transgressing against Kal Purakh's hukum? So these sort of conundrums and unnecessary dilemmas really end up trapping the people who try provoking them in the first place. Now, here is a Shabad. This is also mistranslated by both the Professor Sahib Singh team and the Sampradaya team. माथो हर 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 मुख कहिया, हम ते कुछ न होवे, स्वामी जियो राखे त्यों रहिया। रहाओ, किया किच करे की करण हारा, किया एस हथ बिचारा। जित तुम आवो तिथ ही लागा, पूर्ण खसम हमारे। करो कृपा सर्ब के दाते, एक रूप लिवलावो। नानक की बेनती हर पाए, अपना नाम जपावो. Right, so this is in Guru Granth Sahib, Ang 216. So let's start on this verse. Hamte kuch na hove, Swami jio rakhe teo rahiye. Because this is the main one, the crux, the Rahal verse, which is often misinterpreted and mistranslated to argue that there is predestination in Sikhi. Now, a superficial reading does give that impression, Hamte kuch na hove, I can't really do anything. Swami, Master, jio rakhe teo rahiye. The way you have kept me, that's the way I remain. I can't do anything, right? But if we play around with the translation a bit, or even the gurmukhi a bit, we see that it isn't exactly confirming predestination. So let's look at the translation from a gurmukh perspective. Creator, your divine pervasiveness forever guides my speech. I'm unable to perform anything. I reside as you keep me. What can I do? Alone. How can I compel anyone else to do anything? Indeed, what is in the hands of me, a mere mortal? As you orient us, so we walk, because you are our divine overlord. Master of all that exists, grace us with your divine munificence, that only your true form remains alluring to me. Nanak has but this supplication alone. Let me imbue the all pervasive one's wisdom repeatedly. So, this divine wisdom is Nam. Nam when we live Gurmat. This is Nam. So, of course, an initial reading will give us the impression that this verse is indeed emphasizing predestination and that Hukam, in a way, is totalitarian divine will, guiding the minute to minute, second to second existence of man. However, this is the wrong conclusion. So, when we look at the verses below this verse, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਹੁੰਦੇ, the shabads before this shabad, they speak of ascetics and renunciates willfully ignoring the genuine path of Nam, to pursue, to chase after false religions and then suffering the resulting consequences. So those shabads speak about free will. This shabad seems to be going against those shabads. Now, many will bring up the Saki that is allegedly by Mani Singh, but there is no evidence of this. That it depends on your understanding, it depends on your state of spirituality, blah blah blah, and end up confusing the normal person even more, who's wondering, how the fuck do I get to that level of spirituality where I can understand all these contradictions? Or why did the Guru make this message so contradictory? Why did the Guru make it so contradictory if it's based on spiritual levels? Shouldn't the Guru have sealed off certain parts of the Guru Granth Sahib that this is for this spiritual level, that is for that spiritual level? Why all this confusion? But there's nothing to be confused about, right? This isn't a pessimistic Shabad, right? So what this Shabad actually talks about, it elaborates upon the inability of man to change the existential foundations of creation impacting his life. So what the Shabad is saying is that we cannot change the parameters of our reality because they are due to your Hukam Akal Purakh, right? This is a simplification, and this is a mistake which the Sikh missionaries and both Sikh sampradayas make in this Shabad, right? It is about free will, but living that free will within Hukam, that is reality. We can't change reality. This is what the Shabad is saying. Hamte kichna hove swami jio rakhe teo rahiye. I can't do anything. I can't change reality. So the way you have kept me, the way you have positioned this reality, the way you have positioned me within this reality, my existence within this reality, the way you've placed me within it, I have to walk that reality. I have to live with that reality. I can't waste more time running around trying to change reality. It just isn't feasible. This is what the Shabad is talking about, right? But when we read all these steaks and TK of reformists and traditionalists, they end up breeding this pessimistic outlook in life. And then suddenly we're all over ourselves, getting depressed that, hey, at the end of the day, something bad happens to me. It's Vaheguru's hukam. Does Vaheguru hate me? Am I not supposed to be happy? What is Vaheguru endearing me for? What is he making me tough for? But then, even more worse is the fact when that sense of commitment and confidence takes a direct hit that maybe Vaheguru and the Guru doesn't like me. I'm doing so much to get rid of my sins. But at the end of the day, there is this cycle of recurring negativity in my life. I'm being screwed from all ends. What can I do? And then when a person becomes weak in that because he doesn't have the proper understanding of Gurbani, he falls prey to other religions, false beliefs, or goes off the path of Sikhi. And then our community has only one expression for that. ਉਹ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਸਿਦਕ ਦਾ ਮਾੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਇੰਨਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸਿਦਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗਾ. He didn't have the strength to follow Sikhi. His commitment wasn't strong. But then again, who's going to make that commitment strong? Right? Why are we dodging the bullet down here and always trying to make excuses when we should be focusing on actually strengthening these people through the right point of gurmukh? That look, you can't change your reality, but you have the power to choose your reaction and actions within that reality. But when we end up going the wrong way, this Natan Mat of predestination, that's when we end up getting screwed. The Muslims have this really interesting concept in their Quran that even before man is born, Allah writes down his destiny on a stone tablet. So then the question becomes that if Allah has written that I will remain an infidel for the rest of my life, isn't Allah setting me up to be doomed in the first place? And many of our Sikhs will argue, yeah, hell yeah, Allah is a bitch for doing that. That's what they will say. But when it comes to Sikhi, they're still arguing the same in a different sort of a way, saying, hey, wait a minute, Waheguru has predestined you to be screwed throughout your entire bloody life. Right? And you see, many Muslims confronted on this point, and they have to make a lot of low IQ excuses, and you can see them struggling to comprehend how the hell did they end up in this quagmire in the first place? And if you use the same argument against Sikhs who believe in predestination, the poor bastards end up in the same problem again. Like, how the hell do we get out of this? Right? So, Hukam is reality, and the parameters of this reality, our very existence, are preset by Akal Purkh. They can't be changed. But this still leaves us a master of our own fate. Right? So, once again, Hukam isn't totalitarian pre-programming. रात गवाए सो के दिवस गवाए खाई हर जैसा हीरे जैसा जन्म है कोडी बदले जाई नाम न जानिया राम का मूड़े फिर पछे पछुताई रे रहाओ अंत धन धरनी धरे अंत न चाहिए जाई अंत को चाहन जो गए सो आए अंत गवाई आपन लिया जो मिले ता सबको भगत होए कर्मा ऊपर निबड़े जे लोचे सब कोय नानक करना जिन किया सोई सार करे हुक्म न जापे खसम का किसे वडाई दई. Right? This is on Ang 156 to Ang 157 of Guru Granth Sahib. Nights are passed in sleep, and days are spent eating crap. The human life, this very human existence is a diamond. Why is it a diamond? So getting back to Asadivar, to show Vaheguru it was worth creating us. Right? The human life is a diamond, but the ignorant gamble it away like a shell. The Naam, the divine wisdom of Akal, is ignored while alive, and when death finally arrives, then the idiot regrets everything. The idiots hoard countless treasures while on this earth, but nothing accompanies them in the end. Those who depart at the end for their final home, they never return. And these worldly treasures they collect go to waste, the worldly treasures they're obsessed with. So if all concerned could collect such wealth easily, then Would everyone not be considered fortunate? But our destiny unfolds based on our actions, even if thousands of prayers are made otherwise. Nanak, the Creator creates and cares for what is created. How can the reasons behind the divine will, being what it is, be known? Only some are blessed with glory. So, when we try changing hukam, we also try changing the reasons for hukam. But we will never know what the reasons behind reality being what it is are. It's just a waste of time. And our destiny unfolds based on our actions. This Shabad is basically saying our destiny unfolds based on our actions. Why blame Akal Purakh? Why blame Waheguru for what we are doing? Why blame anyone else? Our fate is in our own hands. Our destiny unfolds based on our actions. There are countless individuals who wish it otherwise, who pray for divine intervention to ease the burden of existence. But the reality, ironically, is this, that the divine hukam is that we have been empowered to either ease our own burdens or increase them further based on our actions. Karmi apo apani ke nede ke dur. Right? We read it every morning in the Japji Sahib, don't we? Karmi apo apani ke nede ke dur. Depending on our actions, we either come closer to Akal's path or we either stray away from it. Right? So there is no room for cynicism or pessimism in either Sikhi or the Khalsa. The Khalsa is the master of its own destiny. As the apex of Sikh mysticism, the Khalsa comprehends that it reaps what it sows. Karmi apo apni ke nede ke dur. Ape bij ape kha nanak hukmi aveja. Right? So this acceptance of hukam, of reality, is what makes its passage through life easy. Life is a battle, right? Life is a battle. Hukam is the great battle. Living within hukam. So life has been given to us to live within hukam. And living within hukam is a great battle. Right? And one can discern, like one can comprehend, one can understand that at the end of the day, once we accept this fact about hukam, we can't change hukam, then there is a joy in existence, this joyful acceptance of mastering one's own fate. Look at the ancient Khalsa. To rise phoenix like from the ashes was a choice. It wasn't predestined, it was a choice. Ratan Singh Pangu has this part in his Shri Gur Panth Prakash that the Khalsa in the jungles of the Punjab regretted betraying Baba Banda Singh. How Binod Singh betrayed Baba Banda Singh, members of the Khalsa who betrayed him, the majority Khalsa, Sikhs, regretted this. It was by choice. There is no predestination, and that's what Pangu is actually saying as well. It's by choice, it's not predestination. They selected to listen to bullshit stories about Banda Singh, and then they allowed those stories to ignite their passions. They became blind, they got winded up, and then look what ended up happening. So for the next 30 years, they're now in the jungles of Punjab suffering. Right? So this is the sort of relevance of Hukam, the reality of Hukam, what Hukam is, that is found in Sikhi. And when we start outsourcing our beliefs to other religions, they're not going to respect them. They're going to try imposing their own will on it. And when that happens, when that ends up happening, then the problem becomes that we lose the essence of our religion and start becoming more like them. Right? So here's one more Shabad that needs to be considered. Katak karam kamavane, dos na kayo jog, परमेश्वर ते भुलिया व्यापन सब रोग वेम खोए राम ते लागण जन्म विजोग खिन में कोड़े होए गए जितरे माया भोग विच न कोई कर सके किस्थे रवे रोज कीता किच न होवे लिखिया धुर संजोग वडभागी मेरा प्रभ मिलते उतरे सब वियोग नानक को प्रभ राख ले मेरे साहिब बंदी मोच कतक होवे साध संग बिनसे सब सोच. Right? Now, remember these lines. Katak karm kamavne, dos na kayo jog. In the month of Katak, commit only good actions and do not blame others for your failings. Right? Free will. Parmeswar te pulya vyapan sab rog. When you choose to turn your back on Akal, on your Maker, you invite all these afflictions on yourself. Vema khoe ram te lagan janam vijog. So, those who turn their backs on Akal Purakh, they doom these births. Right? That's it. They have doomed themselves. And that's pretty much it for them. That's what the Guru is saying. But then again, Kita kuch na hove likhya tor sanjog. Right? No one can alter outcomes of such an act, irrespective of whoever is cryingly invoked. Now, of course, the Gurmukhi seems to be a contradiction. In one Shabad, there seem to be two contradictions. There is the free will discussion going on, and then there is the predestination discussion going on. But if we look at it in the light of Gurmat, if we translate this properly, then this is what we get. So this Shabad is found on Ang 135 of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. In the month of Katak, commit only good actions and do not blame others for your failings. If you forget the Creator, then you are plagued by countless afflictions. Those who turn their backs on their Maker doom their birth. The illusory pleasures they hanker after rapidly turn bitter. No one can alter the outcomes of such an act, irrespective of whoever you go crying to. None can escape the consequences of their actions, for this is the preordained writ. Great fortune allows us to meet our Maker and expel the pain of division. Nanak is protected by his Maker, who stops him from regressing, and this Maker has annihilated all his confinement. So, Tur Sanjog, Sanjog, preordained writ. This is what it means in Sikhi. So, as the verse clarifies, preordained writ defines an aspect of hukam, that is, that each action earns us a reaction and we cannot escape the consequences of our actions, no matter how hard we try. And this principle is one of the main elements, the core elements of hukam. And this principle is something the Sikh is expected to integrate with. It can't be changed. It is preordained, right? It is hukam. It is our reality. Ape bij, ape hi kha. So, is this principle necessarily negative? Not really. Once you understand it, then it becomes even more positive. And this is one of those aspects of Sikhi where we need to understand that this predestination debate should not exist in Sikhi. We are free to do what we want to do, but there are consequences. And to save us from the negative consequences that destroy us internally, the spiritual death, the conscientious death, we have been given Naam. Right? Here's another Shabad which is quite interesting. Jaka Leela ki mit nahi, sagal dev har avgaye. पिता का जन्म कि जाने पूत सगल पुराए अपनी सूत सुमित ज्ञान ध्यान जिन दई जन दास नाम ध्यावे सोई तहे गुण में जाको परमाए जन्म मरे फिर आवे जाए ऊंच नीच तिसकी अस्थान जैसा जनवे तैसा नानक जान. So, Ang 284. Now again, the crucial line that is misinterpreted here, right? Tehe gun me jako parmai. What it really means is those who are stuck within the three guns, Sato, Tamo, and Rajo, right? They're stuck within these three elemental mentalities. And who has actually thrust them there? Right? Why are they stuck there? Who's responsible for this? Parmai. Parmai being a verb, it is usually credited that, hey, Vaheguru, hey, Akal Purakh, you're the one who has made men, stuck in these places. Yeah, that's bullshit. The reality is they're stuck there because of themselves. This is what the Gurmukhi grammar is actually saying here. Right? Tahe gun mein jako parmai. Jako, because of themselves, they're stuck in this, right? Now, the question here comes that at the end of the day, in Sikhi, why do our shaheeds, our gurus, our mates, our warriors have had and still have such hard lives? Right? Is that Hukam? And once again, we have hagiographies, sakis, which are used or twisted to be used to explain away certain concepts. Right? Like, we have such crap written in the Suraj Prakash, doesn't mean all of it is bad, but doesn't mean all of it is good either. So in future, we will have episodes showing how to read these granths properly within context, rather than being an idiot like Arminder Tillo and Harjinder Dilgir and using these. They throw the baby out with the bathwater and dismissing all of Sikh history. No, all Sikh history, all Sikh achievements are Brahmanavadi. Only what our secular enlightenment agenda says is real Sikh history. No, so we have to be careful on that. So once again, let's look at it. Does a Gurmukh have an easy life? Within Hukam. If we take the stance that Hukam is reality, does a Gurmukh have an easy life within reality? No. Right? Gurmukh ਢੂੰਡਦਿਆ ਹਰ ਸੱਜਣ ਲਾਥਾ Ram Raje. Right? Guru Granth Sahib, Ang 449. The Gurmukh seeks and seeks the divine beloved and finally finds the great sovereign. And ਜਿਨ ਮਸਤਕ ਧੁਰ ਹਰ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਤਿਨਾ ਸਤਗੁਰ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਰਾਮ ਰਾਜੇ. Those who have it inscribed on their heads from the divine court, they discover the divine truth, leading to the all-pervasive emperor. So that is Guru Granth Sahib, Ang 450. Divine truth having personified as the 10 gurus, and that is now in the Guru Granth and the Guru Panth. So the first verse clarifies that one who becomes a Gurmukh, that is a Gursikh or loyal Sikh of the Guru, the Khalsa, they dedicate themselves towards seeking the path to their maker, to realizing their maker. Then the second verse says that as a result, they earn the divine grace and then discover the Satguru that paves the way for them to meet their maker. Right? So both verses hinge on the unsaid truth that acceptance of the divine reality or hukam is the cornerstone to successfully realizing the process of merging with the God. So from this it emerges that while destiny is not pre-written in Sikhi, nonetheless, Gurmukhs have a special type of a specific destiny inscribed for them that is designed to strengthen them if they accept it. So once again, when we look at it, when the Gurmukh is looking for a Kal, right, he seeks to realize his inner mool, as we discussed in the Naam episode. What happens is the process is called Jini Mastakatare Har Likhya, right? But what happens is Akal writes a new Mastak for them. That this person is dedicated, this person is living life through Naam. Let us write a new Mastak, right? A new identification for this person. And that process, what it does is makes them into a Gurmukh. This is a new identification that now you're not a Manmukh, you're a Gurmukh. Right? And because of that, they continue on their path and meet Akal. Right? So first you start on the path, and then Akal blesses you, and then you keep walking that path. But it isn't easy, because the path we are talking about, this is how it's described on Ang 1412 of the Guru Granth Sahib. Joto prem khilan ka chao, sir tar tali gali muriyao, et marg per darije, sir dije karn na kije. So when you desire to play this game of love, offer me your head on your palm and approach my path. Once you walk on this way, then be prepared to sacrifice your head, but do not even think about retreating an inch. So, this game is not a game of loving one's neighbor or humanity. Such secular rubbish was not accepted by the Sikh gurus. Rather, it is one of loving and accepting hukam and the path of strength that one selects to walk as a gurmukh. Right? The gurmukh then undergoes great trials, but as an act of sacrifice to ensure that others after them also follow them. Right? So the trials they undergo, these aren't preset by Akal Purakh. These are not preset by Akal Purakh, but it is the nature of Hukam that the Manmukhs always outnumber the Gurmukhs and they come after the Gurmukhs. Chadai chad ke aoge. They will come after you once you're a Gurmukh. And then it is up to you to actually reconfirm the fact that you accept the hard, the almost impossible, the painful destiny of a Gurmukh to show mankind how to live, just like your gurus did. So the Gurmukh's destiny is not specified to be preset minute to minute, erasing the necessity of their free will, like many, Sikh sampradayas claim it, even missionaries nowadays. Rather, by accepting Khande ki Pahol, they undertake vows to pursue perfection that naturally invites hostility from the world at large. This is a crucial distinction that should be kept in mind, right? So, in reality, this Gurmukh's destiny is more like a general path they walk that comes with its own varieties of pain, and these are specific based on individual contexts. But what makes a hero, what identifies a hero, is the tendency to accept and undergo that pain. That is the reality. To undergo the pain. The jad ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਦੇਖੇ, when we look at our martyrs, our shaheeds, think about it. What didn't they do? Guru Arjan came to earth, lived as a common man, decided to go on the Tatitavi. Right? Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji came to earth, lived as a common man, decided to do Jang. Guru Tegh Bahadur, Guru Harkrishan, Guru Harai, Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And then we look at our Shaheeds, right? Look at them. From those days in the 18th century to today, right? Even in the 80s. Look at our Shaheeds. They chose this hard destiny. They were given the easy route out. Tu Gurmukha, you're a Gurmukh, you're a Gursikh. Leave your Sikhi, leave your Guru. Fuck the world. Don't worry about what everyone else in your society or in your community will say. This is what the world said to them, that, hey, this world wants you to be a Sikh, but Sikhi is false. Sikhi is weak. Why are you a Sikh? But what the Gurmukh said was that I've chosen this destiny for myself. I don't give two fucks about what you're saying. I'm ready to die for my destiny. I'm ready to die for my Guru. I'm ready to die for my Sikhi. This is my destiny. I've chosen this destiny. I've accepted this destiny. And look at the outcome, right? Now, by Taru Singh Ji, he was given the opportunity to convert to the false religion of Islam or, Sanatan. Bhai Sahib refused. And because he chose this hard destiny of a Gurmukh based on his context at the time, the whole world knows him. We can't really say at the end of the day that Bhai Taru Singh had the same destiny as Bhai Mani Singh Ji. One got cut to pieces, the other had his scalp removed. Different contexts, similar times. But then if you come down to Bhai Anok Singh Babbar and then Bhai Mani Singh Ji, different contexts, different times, but same underlying trend of accepting the Gurmukh's destiny. Because this is the destiny that will make you into a true leader who continues inspiring and influencing even after your physical body goes. You exist after you die. You exist after you die. And there is a certain poetic reality here that those of you who would have read the Aeneid by Virgil, he discusses how the gods make some humans leaders for eternity. And the way he does it is that Virgil makes clear a fascinating but equally grim reality, because that's what we'll call it, a grim reality. Aeneas, the protagonist of the Aeneid, and the class of men he belongs to, the heroes, are always given two options. They can either take the easy route or they can either take the hard route. The hard route is fashioned for them by the gods who wish to test their mettle, but also ensure the immortality of their legacy for all time to come. The easy route dooms them to oblivion and infamy. Take it easy now, you're forgotten. Take it hard now, you're remembered for the rest of eternity. Right? And there's a part in the Aeneid where they get shipwrecked on Carthaginian shores, and Aeneas sees that his men are crying, the survivors, and once upon a time he remembers they were proud warriors and now they're beggars, and he tells them, Perhaps someday, even remembering these days will bring joy." And these words are emblematic, they're symbolic of what strong men undergo when they walk the path of battling life, right? And the Gurmukh's destiny can be said to be the same as Aeneas. Aeneas was given that destiny of raising Rome, right? And he accepted it. That's why he underwent so much pain. He lost his wife, he lost his father, he lost his mother, he lost his entire kingdom. But at the end of the day, you look at the Gurmukh. The Gurmukh is the Aeneas of today, right? They lose everything, but they also win everything. This isn't a catastrophe. Jedi Janga, this battle, it isn't a catastrophe. Guru Gobind Singh Ji was born in a palace, died in a tent. It wasn't a catastrophe. We remember him today. He inspires and encourages us to keep fighting. Banda Singh Bahadur, most likely born in a palace, died on the streets of Delhi, right? Today, he continues to inspire and influence us. They didn't choose the easy way out. They accepted the Gurmukh's destiny. This was the same for the Gurus as well. They underwent the same trials and tribulations as us to show us common mortals that yes, you can live the life of the gods. This is exactly the reality of Sikhi. Asakiya. We have to take those hardships if we want to become Gurmukhs. Jad Naam Japa Gena, when we walk the path of Naam, this whole fucking world is going to come after us. We might be shit fighters in the gym, we might be shit shooters on the shooting range, but at the end of the day, the common Dick and Harry, when they come to attack us, we should be ready to defend ourselves or make the ultimate sacrifice at the end of the day. Because come, they definitely will. Unane ona. This is the nature of the world. This is reality. Now, one more point here to consider. As mentioned previously and in many episodes with Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo, we need to find the Vajood or the authentic version of many of our Sakhis. Right? When they happened, how they happened, and what was the original context of these Sakhis. And these Sakhis, while they might have been made to strengthen us and influence and inspire us, some Sakhis cause more confusion than they actually solve. So, this is something we need to think about in light of Gurbani. Now, what has happened is that there is this aspect of Sikh history that when Guru Arjan was sitting on the Tati Tavi, when he was being fried alive, that he was singing a Shabad. Tera kiya meetha lage, har naam padarat, Nanak mange. Right? What you have done is sweet to me. I only want your naam. Now, was Guru Arjan actually saying this? Like sanu ਕਿੱਥੇ ਗੱਲ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੀ ਹੈ? Is there a oral tradition? Is there a Sakhi written at the time based on eyewitness correspondences? And these are the sort of things we need to start digging out. That what exactly was Guru Arjan saying then? Right? What does the Shabad mean? Does the Shabad mean that there is predestination? Right? What does it actually mean? So, when we look at the whole Shabad, right? What is this Shabad? Asa Kar Satma Mahalla Panjma, right? Ang 394 of the Guru Granth Sahib. So, what it is actually is a whole series of verses, Chote Chote Shabad by Guru Arjan. And the way it starts, ਅਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਨਾ ਆਸਾ ਕਰ ਸਤਵਾਂ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾਂ ਹਰ ਕਾ ਨਾਮ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਨਿਤ ਧਿਆਏ ਸੰਗ ਸਾਥੀ ਸਗਲ ਤਰਾਨੇ ਗੁਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਸੰਗ ਸਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾਲੇ ਸਿਮਰ ਸਿਮਰ te sada samale rahao. What it is basically is that jada naam ana, remember this naam forever. Immerse yourself in this naam. Do not forget it. Live this naam minute to minute, second to second. And in this way, you will inspire your own companions as well to follow naam and save themselves. And the Guru is always with me because of naam, right? And so, remembering naam, I end up immersing myself in the divine presence for as long as I remember naam. Tera kiya meetha lage har naam padarat nanak mange. Right? And then we have this before the main Asam Hala Panchma. This is a short Shabad in between. Har naam padarat nanak mange. Tera kiya meetha lage. Whatever you have done, Ajari Asliyata, this reality, whatever it is you have done, it's all sweet to me. Har naam padarat nanak mange. All Nanak begs for is your naam. That at the end of the day, all these useless debates about reality being changed, not changed, etc., whatever, I like the way you've made it. Right? I love the way it is. All I want is your naam. If this is a battle, all good. I'll fight this battle. All I need is your naam. If this is misery, all good. Let it be miserable. Let my life be miserable. All I want is naam. So, the way it's reinforced in those Sakhis, this is not to say that Guru Arjan never gave his Siddhi. He gave his Siddhi, but at the end of the day, we have associated and put certain words in the Guru's mouth that he might not have said at the time. And this Shabad is one of them. So, as Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo clarified in that previous episode on the Hukam Namas of the Gurus, many, not many, but some of our Gurdwaras and Sakhis have been created after the event to try explaining certain Gurbani lines, but this has been done to find an easy way out, and this complicates matters further than they resolve. Then it resolves. So, to reiterate, to repeat the salient points of this episode is that 1. Hukam is reality, it is the framework within which we live our lives. 2. Life in Sikhi is a change, a wrestling pit, a place of conflict. It is hard, it is a battle. And 3. The gurmukh's destiny is always going to be hard. But 4. Once you take these hardships, once you let these hardships come to you, you can always rebuild yourself. Your gurus never gave up. What they did for the protection of the panth and to also show you how to live properly. So why are you giving up? This is one of the fundamental differences between Sikhs and other religions. The gurus wanted us to be like them. So Guru Nanak had a Khalis. From Guru Nanak to Guru Gobind Singh, there was a body of Khalis, but Guru Gobind Singh Ji made it the Khalsa and made it the Guru, right? The Gurus knew that the poetry of the Guru Granth Sahib, the content of the Guru Granth Sahib was only useful as long as there was someone living it. So when Guru Nanak selected Guru Angad, the criteria was that is Guru Angad 100% organic reflection of Gurbani? And this is how the Gurus were chosen. And ultimately, Guru Gobind Singh Ji consecrated the Khalsa as the Guru Panth Khalsa. Why? Because it was 100% organic reflection of how to live Gurbani. So once you become that reflection, once you decide, right, fuck it, I want to live like that, I want to live a warrior's life, then watch. Dukh aauge, hardships are going to come on you. At the end of the way, tur likhya sanjog, end of the day, look, your parents are going to die. Your siblings are going to die. Hell, your kids might die. Your wife might die. A lot of people in your life are going to die. You can't change the reality. Right? You can't change that fucking reality. That's it. It's the end of the story for them. You can't change reality. So then, why not just accept the reality of the situation, of your existence, the conditions of reality, and live according to it, rather than go against it? Back in the day, if someone used to die, Sikhs used to celebrate. Right? और चल गया काल चलाना करके बस ठीक है मुक्त हो गए. Baba Vasakha Singh of the Gaddar party, when anyone used to tell him so and so Singh ad Shaheed ho gaya, oh Shaheed ho gaya, oh kende si mukta ho gaya. When people used to come and say, Baba Vasakha Singh ji, so and so Sikh has died, so and so Singh has died, so and so revolutionary has been hanged. He used to say, excellent, they have become mukta, they've become liberated. And then someone asked, How did they liberate themselves? What did they liberate themselves from? And Babaji would say that you guys are thinking that I'm saying that they liberated themselves from the British. Hell no, the British are still here. Although what I'm saying is they've liberated themselves from the battle of life. Jini naam te aaya gaye masakat kal. Those who live naam gaye masakat kal, they have run the gauntlet, right? They have confronted life's hardships and lived them. Jini naam te aaya gaye masakat kal. Jinne dukh aaye, all the pain that came to them, they successfully confronted it and got over it. Nanak te mukhujle kehti chutti naal, and now they influence and inspire others after them. Right? This is the true definition of a Sant in Sikhi. Sant sahai jiya ka bhav jal taran har, sab te uche janiye nanak naam pyar, jin janiya soy tare so sura so bir, nanak tin balhar ne har jap utre tir. Right? Guru Granth Sahib, Ang 929. So Guru Nanak defines the true Sant. The Sant is a seeker of the truth. The Khalsa, the Sikh, the seekers of truth. The Sants are the true associates of Akal. They assist the normal manmukhs who are stuck in the worldly quagmire in crossing this world to the other side. Know them to be the highest of the high, because Guru Nanak reveals that they only love the Naam. So, loving the Naam, following the Naam, they cross over onto the other side and transform themselves into valorous warriors. The Sikh Sant is aggressive militant. He isn't a pacifist. A pacifist is an unarmed victim. The Sikh Sant is a militant, an aggressive militant, right? So, living Naam, they cross over, they kill themselves and then resurrect themselves through Naam. And this makes them into warriors. Guru Nanak is a sacrifice onto them. Why? Because they immerse themselves in the divine presence through jap to cross over to the other side, and then they come back to help others. And this is the Gurmukh's destiny. The Gurmukh, by accepting Naam, inspires and influences others during their darkest times. So that's all for today. Until next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
सवैया दुध जीते नहीं के प्रसाद इन्हीं के प्रसाद सुदान करे अक अवगटार इन्हीं के प्रसाद इन्हीं की कृपा पुण्य धाम भरे इन्हीं के प्रसाद सो विद्यालय इन्हीं की कृपा सब सत्य मरे नहीं की कृपा के सजे हम हैं नहीं पोसो गरीब